What kind of food? What kind of food? What kind of fool do you think I am? You think you can go on seeing him? Starting after we had made our plans, you said I'd be your number one man.
Peace and welcome once again to that great show entitled My Guests Ain't Guessing. As you know, this is the show in which my guests don't be shucking, they be all up in here. Show nothing. Today we have a great show as usual. My name is Leon Loving, in case you're wondering who this handsome guy is. I'm Leon Loving, the host of the show. And today my guests are two exciting and lovely and handsome people, Naimah Latif and Mr. John Alexander. And they are on because they are about to launch a new newspaper called Inspired the Good News.
Yes.
Very good. Is that is
The
complete?
good newspaper.
The Good Newspaper, okay.
Right.
Okay. And what inspired you two to come up with a paper such as this? And tell us something about the paper, a brief overview.
Well, you know, of course, everywhere you look, you always hear bad news, and it's very depressing. You get the impression that the world is a bad place to live. But that's not really true, because there are people doing some great things. There are people who are doing good deeds all the time, and there are people who are really making life better for others. So we want to have a newspaper that actually inspires people to do those good deeds and inspires people by telling them the story of those people who are actually making a positive difference in the world that they live in. So the acronym INSPIRE stands for International News Service, publishing inspirational reports everywhere. And we're getting news from all over the world of people who are doing good deeds, the good Samaritans that are helping out people in disasters, people who are going the extra mile to help people. And even in the negative news, there's something positive, because there's something good that comes out of even what we think is negative. So we want to change the focus of what news is, not the bad news, but the good news. That's why we call it Inspire, the good newspaper.
Okay, very good. And tell us, how often and when will the paper be coming out?
Launching it in June, and right now we're gathering all the good news from around the country and around the world so that we can publish it, and in addition to online, also have a piece of paper in the hands of people every week so they can get motivated and actually feel the effects of the good works that they're doing, as opposed to only seeing the negative things that are happening. Because we want other publications to eventually follow suit and realize that there's some good in publishing the good news.
Okay, so you're going to be a trendsetter, shall we say.
And we're going to do our best to be a trendsetter. And I think to go off what she said is I was just in the restaurant eating. That's why I was late. And I ran into a family, and I saw 4 boys, a father, and a mother. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they always saying father's not around. And this guy's got a basketball team. He's working with a couple of high schools, and I gave him my card and told him, but then I had to speak to the young people. And I say, you ought to be honored and blessed that you have a mother and father sitting here. You don't know how many people wish they had a mother and a father at the same exact time. You might have a mother and a father. Mother's over here and the father's over there. But mother and father sitting at the table, father sitting here, mother sitting there, 4 boys sitting there. And it just drove me to talk to him and just tell him, hey, I want to write about your family. I want to write about the basketball teams you're doing. And we got a paper called I called it the Good News, but I left out the word inspire.
Okay.
So, but it's still good news, you know.
Right.
And
okay.
So in that way, we're going to meet a few celebrity basketball players and and we're going to write about the good things. So young people and parents and fathers and give out the good word, because that's really important, because get tired of seeing men not being positioned the way they're supposed to be positioned. And you know, I was on your show once before. I talked about Leon and Alan and all them guys, these great guys people don't see behind the curtain. But you see them, you know, so just doing good work, man. I think that's really important. If they see positive men and positive women and positive people doing great things for the youth for their life and for whatever else that's out there that's good.
Okay, so it's all walks of life. It'll cover
Any
some
color,
sports
Yes.
any
Yeah.
color, any
Everything,
walk of life,
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
We don't want it to have a color barrier on it. We don't need it to be a color barrier. It's not a black newspaper, it's not a white newspaper, it's not a green newspaper, it's a newspaper of good news for everything. And that's the reason why we decided to do that, because we're saying, well, everybody is writing, we ain't getting no word into nothing, and you know, we got these photographers that they ain't getting their work published. So we plan on putting people to work as well as doing what we're doing for the good of people.
Okay, excellent. I like that in you. John,
Yes, sir.
tell us a little bit about, well, what else you do.
Well, I'm the head photographer of the Rainbow Push. I'm
Okay.
Reverend Jackson's personal photographer. But I also I get called for certain things. I'm one of the head photographers for the state of Oklahoma. I'll go down to have an attorney that I work for down there, along with a person that's running for governor, the Supreme Court down there, and a couple of other places down there. I'm also studying to become a Google trusted photographer, which is important because there's not many of a Google trusted photographer. A Google trusted photographer is a person that goes through the realm of learning all the stuff that Google want you to do as a business. You ever watch the Google Maps and you see these little turns left, turn right?
Yeah.
The only thing about that, I'll be doing it for businesses, and that's what Google would trust me to do that with. I will be listed with Google. I will be as a trusted photographer, and I just got approved to be a Google trusted photographer in Oklahoma. So as being the color that I am, I ain't gonna say black man, but being the color that I am, I want to inspire other people to do what I'm doing. Leon, I've only been a photographer for 6 years, and I'm doing way more than most people would do.
You are definitely an accomplished photographer.
Yes,
You
I try to
made
be.
great gains and set many great things you've done.
Well, I try to set a trend. I have a few guys that kind of look up to me a little bit. And so what I try to do with most of the guys is they look at me and they ask me for because we just did another book author over at Today's Women Black Expo. We also did a prominent lead actress, Lisa Ray. But they was asking me how to set this shot up because that's what they used to see me doing that Rainbow Push. They used to me taking control of a crowd of 2,000, 3,000 and getting all eyes on me to take the photo, even though it's 50 photographers behind me. And so it's just teaching these guys how to be assertive, be aggressive, but respectful all at the same time.
Excellent, excellent. And Naimah, tell us a little bit about yourself
Well, of course.
that we don't already know, or something that we don't know.
Well, of course, I host a morning radio show, The Female Solution. It's heard all around the world from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we've had calls from all over the world. And on that show, we've featured a lot of the positive information that we'll get a chance to highlight in this publication, Inspire, the good newspaper. And what I've learned is that there are people all over the place that are doing things that, as John was saying, you know, there are fathers that are being excellent examples in their homes. There are people who volunteer their time when families are in trouble. And it needs to be known that these are people that are really shaping lives. And so we want to give them an opportunity to do that. And then, of course, I've written 4 books, and those books have been geared toward changing the perspective. There's slavery, the African-American psychic trauma, which is used in colleges across the country.
Yep. I didn't know that.
And yes, and When Nations Gather, which is another deep history book that's used in colleges. Also, The Female Solution, which kind of spurred the radio show. And then my last book, Visits from the Dream State, which is kind of an autobiographical piece. And all of these books, of course, have been groundbreaking in a sense of helping people to reflect on themselves and strive to become better people. So that's one of the things that we look to do in publishing Inspire.
Well, she
is
missed
to
one.
inspire people
What's
to
that?
do great
She missed
things.
my book that she's helping me write on myself.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Another
Let's-
motivational piece, The
And-
Cry Within.
And I
Me.
already got over 10,000 orders for the book, and I haven't even written it yet.
So,
That's
so it's
Yeah.
that says it's
gonna be a
speak
bestseller.
volumes about you.
Well, actually,
Absolutely.
Rob was here when I first did the first page of it. It's called The Cry Within the Man. And it's just, you know, I think I spoke it on your show the last time.
Okay, yeah.
I talked about The Cry Within
Yeah,
the Man,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the pieces has been actually added more because there's an ending piece that I don't want to talk about right now that I have to bring once it's completed. And so, but everything along the line of The Cry Within the Man, You might have heard Steve Harvey speak some parts of it, but this is like really true. And I'm only talking about just me, my cry within myself. And I know if I'm crying within myself, there's got to be other men's crying
Other
like
men,
me.
no, certainly.
And
yeah.
so when
Men
I did,
we as men are, we tend to keep things within us.
yeah, and I found out that when I was keeping things into me, I was getting sick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so once I learned how to release, I think Naimah told me something 6 years ago, and she told me, you can't keep doing this certain thing all the time. And I didn't realize that I was doing this certain thing all the time, which was being bad with women. You know, not knowing, catering to their feelings or thinking about their feelings, not even giving a care about their feelings at the time. Was only catering to my own feelings. And I realized how damaging that was to me. Oh, it was damaging.
Sort of a selfish.
Well, it wasn't selfish, it was a not know.
Oh, it was because you didn't know.
I didn't really know because
Okay.
I didn't grow up with that type
Okay,
of teaching, and
okay.
we argued about that. Oh my goodness, oh man! I walked out of my own house with the girl, and then we was arguing so bad, and it was like 10 below zero outside, and I walked out of my own house. I walked out of my own house, but later on down the line, I started realizing, and I started running to a lot of ex-girlfriends, and you know the ex-wives, and really getting inside myself and apologizing. I found out that my health got better. I started feeling better about me, because I didn't realize that I was hurting people. I don't like to hurt people. But when you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know. And when you know better, you do better.
Yeah,
I always say that, like the song, learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all.
Yes.
So were you at a point where you felt that you didn't love yourself? Was that it? Did you
I
learn
think
to
I always loved
uh,
myself, but didn't know what I loved about myself.
Interesting. So now you know what you love about yourself.
Yeah, I love peace.
You kind of discovered something?
Well, I discovered that the peace within the man is the cry that's within the man. That's what making me want to decide to write the book, because I figured all the stuff that I'm holding inside of me is all the stuff that needs to be out of me. And you'd be surprised how much sickness, blood pressure, all that stuff left me.
Really?
Right. I don't have no more back pains. I don't have no more kidney pains. I don't have no more high blood pressure. I don't have no more headaches. I don't have no more bad vision. I'm not stressed. And even when me and her argue sometimes, she can tell you I'm calm as a bat. I'm calm.
But you know what I've discovered? And this is another reason why a publication like Inspire is so important. When you are at peace, you are in better health, and doing good deeds, treating people fairly, being right with people, that's what puts you at peace. That's what heals your body. When you do wrong to people, it does in fact affect your physical body and makes you sick. And even if you see somebody doing an act of kindness, that actually produces the endorphins in your body that helps you heal. So it actually boosts your immune system to see good deeds done.
And it's
kind
almost
of
like,
warms your heart. And
yes.
it's almost like if you don't know it now, I guarantee you'll know it later.
Oh yeah.
Even if you think it's cool now, most of the guys I've been talking to lately really found out it ain't cool no more. And you find out that a lot of them are settling down. They're finding out their illness and their sickness. And it's only because they've been carrying this heavy, low burden inside themselves that they have not cleaned up yet. And you know, the Bible says, wash and clean me daily. And that means you got to be clean daily, not stay dirty for a week and then worry about how you're going to get the dirt off you, because by that time, there's other things attacking you. And I know that to be true.
yeah, it's a daily process. And if
It's
you
a
don't
daily
do it
process.
daily,
It start
piles
adding
up.
on,
Yeah,
add
yeah.
on. So instead of you washing yourself lightly, you got to wash yourself hard, because you got to scrub the dirt off you that's
gotta
embedded on
lay-
your
you
skin.
got
You got layers
on
on your skin.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful with that. And that's not just a Bible thing, that's a worldly thing as well, because if you got too much dirt on you in the world, find out your body going to start itching, bugs going to start living on you, everything. And you find out you ain't living correctly because you got all these diseases or all these bad stuff in your skin.
That's
So,
right.
so you got to wash and clean daily.
That's right. Clean
And
your body and mind.
as I was
yeah.
talking with Naimah before the show, we were talking about Inspire, the Good News newspaper, and I was saying how, what you see on the news nowadays, I call it sensationalism, and the sensationalism, it starts probably on Sunday mornings in church, because what do pastors and ministers do? They talk about sin, crime, murder, rape, gangs,
right.
everything,
all the negatives.
all negatives.
And it creates fear in you. And,
Right,
and what does that do? That doesn't make you feel happy or uplifted. That can be such a downer. So you got to look at life from a positive perspective and from a perspective of hope that things are getting better, as opposed to fear that everything's so bad you're going to be afraid of everybody.
They give you the feeling that you're doomed, you're going to go to hell.
Well, not all preachers do that.
But a lot of them do. I know you
A lot of them. I mean, you have to have the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got the influx fear. Like, you ever see the movie, this thing called Beyond Scared Straight?
Oh.
No,
It's a series about young people going to jail for the first time, showing them what they could be doing versus what they got, and they don't have to be in that point.
Okay.
And a lot of them get scared straight because they don't want to be in jail with somebody else. They don't want to deal with the prisoners. They don't want to deal with these crazy females and crazy males. So they come back and they learn, I got my life together, I'm different, I love my mama, I do my housework. And so, you know, it's a point of, when the pastor's talking about those doomy things, I think they just trying to influx something that people forget. And it's the bad things in life that makes you want to have the good things in life. And if you keep sticking with the bad, you're going to end up being bad. But if you stick with the bad and you hear it, you eventually decide, I need to change what I'm doing. When they speak about a wife or fidelity or infidelity and things like that, it's really tell you this is not what you should be doing. You should love your wife as God loved you, and you should keep doing the right things. If you find a wallet on the ground, and I had to get this lesson. I found the wallet on the ground with $20. I was broke as I don't know what. Somebody made me give the wallet back. Yes. But now
what happened? Was the 20 still in there?
We put the 20 back in there.
Okay.
And we all three of them was broke. We was broke. We had no money. And somebody.
Well, you know, the man's ID was in there, and
we found him and gave it back to him.
We found him, traced him down, went to the bank where his bank card was, and had them call him, and they said, somebody found your wallet. He was just so shocked. That's why he turned it in.
Because he elated too.
He had money not only from America, he had some foreign money. So
everything.
You know, we knew he was
but that's learning to be right.
You have to think. Well, of course, do
right
unto
thing.
others what you have them do unto you. If you lost your wallet with all your ID and credit cards and money, you'd want somebody to give it back.
Yes, you would.
So you have to believe that you're going to be rewarded for the good things, because we are each other's keeper. And that's one of the things that inspired us and motivated us to create Inspire, the good news. Because there are a lot of people that are doing good things. There are a lot of people that are honest. There are a lot of people that will give back money, and their story needs to be told. We hear about the robbers all the time and people who are sticking up people. We hear that every day. Yeah. But what about the people who find $100 in the wallet and they give it back? What about the people who see the keys in somebody's car and they, tell the person, oh, you left your keys in your car? I mean, what about the honest people, the good people, the people who will see somebody's lost child and go and find the mother and father? People are out there doing that every day, more than the robbers and the killers, but they don't get the press. So we want to give them the press and the exposure. Let me ask you this.
Do you think there's really a market for it? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You think it's a market for what?
Well, what I'm saying is,
people are tired of hearing all the bad stuff. It's distressing. It's physically killing us to keep hearing all this bad news. You feel so much better whenever you hear a good story.
Well, I'm just the opposite. I like to hear both.
You like to? Okay.
I like to hear both because it makes me understand what I'm up against. I like to know what I'm up against. All good news scares me sometimes.
Why?
Because it's got to be something bad in it.
So like, what are they hiding?
Right. To me.
Oh.
I think sometimes there is some.
You sound like you're kind of half pessimist and half optimist.
No, because you got a left foot and a right foot, right?
Okay.
You put your shoe on your right and your left and you switch them around. How do you feel? But do you know that your shoe is on the wrong foot, right?
Yeah,
but you know it.
You know it, right.
So then you put your foot on what?
The right, correct.
But you had to know the wrong way first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess that's what pastors are trying to do when they give you all the gloom and doom and if you do this, you're going to hell. If you do that, you're going to hell. The thing is to be motivated to do the good because you know the consequences of the bad. What tends to happen with today's news is that all we hear is the bad and the bad consequences.
Right.
We don't hear the other side, so we don't get the balance. Now it's very unbalanced, like you said, the sensationalism. And it's like each publication and each media source is trying to outdo each other on how bad can you give us news.
Because bad news sells real quick.
So we know that good news sells even more because people need to see that the world is getting better.
And here's an example of bad news. I was watching something on TV, and I won't mention the school, but the student was bad. And the student graduated top of his class, which is good.
Right.
That's why you got to have both. You got to be able to listen to both. But the broadcast of it is, here's a man who changed his life around. Here's a person that's been to prison and got a conglomerate business later. So it's still once bad, once good. That's why I said you got to know both parts.
Okay.
Because that's what you really have to know. You know, I've been through bad things in my life, and now I'm doing great things in my life.
You're doing
where
phenomenal.
things failed for me in 4 years ago, a snap of a finger to me now. And you know, I'm a regional director for a company out of Boston. They flew me to Boston and trained me to run 4 states for a company. And so I didn't ask for that. I just answered the ad on C-list. And so, and I ended up getting a job. And so now I'm running 4 states for them.
Okay.
I was once not able to work for another conglomerate, but I started working for that conglomerate. So it depends on the goodwill of yourself. And once you start believing in the goodwill of you and what you have good on the inside of you, even though you've done the bad things, you become great because the bad things don't matter no more. You're done with all that bad stuff. You now a good person. You're doing all the good things. And the great thing about that is you can always tell somebody, I was this and now I'm that. But if I say I was always good since I was a baby to now, I ain't really got too much to tell somebody because they don't believe, okay, you ain't done nothing wrong. Oh, yeah. You ain't never stole a cookie? Yes. You ain't never stole out your mama's purse?
Right.
Yes. You ever got your butt whipped by your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your sister, and your cousin? Yes, I have. But now I can tell somebody, here's the great thing you can do because I've done what you did. I've been there. You don't need to do that. And I had that conversation tonight with a young man today saying, these are the things you can do. Don't try to take from my company illegally when you can be on it legally.
Yeah.
And he said, thank you.
He said, thank you, great.
Yes, and that's what we'll be able to do with Inspire, the good newspaper, is take what appears to be negative and show the positive. So no matter what the news report is, there's the positive side of it. There's the good thing that came out of it. There's the lesson that was learned from it. There's the thing that a person overcame as a result of it.
Okay, so you'll take something negative and put a positive spin on it.
It usually comes with a positive spin later.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, just like saying a grade point average of a student is 1.5, and then you see the student 2 years later and he's a 3.5. That's good news.
Yes.
1.5 is bad news. He ain't going nowhere. He going to city college, or she going to city college.
Okay.
You know, or somebody been on Scared Straight and their life is better. You know, or you meet somebody off the streets and all of a sudden they was once a street sleeper. Now they're living in a penthouse. It can happen.
Yes.
But just like they found that man on the road and he had this great voice.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story.
And
See,
what happened to
those
him?
kinds of stories,
And what happened to him now? He's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year
Yeah,
with his voice.
that's right.
So I mean, good and the bad works together, Leon, and I really do believe that. And you know, even with our group, you know, my brother still beats me up every now and then, but he's still my brother.
I know who you're referring to.
Yes, he do. And he's still gonna beat me up when he sees me. So
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Let me do an identifier here before we leave. You've been viewing My Guest Ain't Guessing. If you've got questions, comments, or show ideas, give us a call. We're conveniently located at 708-208-1239. Once again, that number is 708-208-1239. And now back to my guests, Mr. John Alexander and Naimah Latif. They are about to launch a great, fantastic new paper entitled Inspire, the Great News newspaper.
He almost got it right, y'all.
What happened? Okay.
Hey, good enough.
If it's good enough, it still
it'll
mean
be
the same
great,
thing to
though.
us.
Yes.
You know.
And
Okay.
And I'm really excited about that,
You're
though,
excited.
because
I'm excited too.
already people have been calling and saying, well, I got this 90-year-old aunt, and she's about to get married, and I think that's good news. I think it is good news because
yes.
love is you're never too old.
And what about
for
the
love.
100-year-old man I shot his birthday a couple
Yeah,
weeks ago?
100-year-old
100 years old before I
man,
went out of
yes.
town. 100
He's
years
looking
old.
good, too.
Leon run better than me and you put together. And he was
Yes.
100 years old. He was
Where does he live?
he lives in the city.
This city?
This city.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was actually the driver for the Wrigley's.
Wow.
Yeah, he was standing up straight, no cane, no nothing. I mean, he was
Clean as a whistle.
Yes.
Got his hat on. I'm like, wow. I got 44 more years to catch up with you.
But it's good stories out there, and people that will inspire you because their lives show something. And like John was saying, people have been through things which you would think is the bad side, but the good side is they learned something, they came out of it better people, and now they can be an example for those coming after them.
Yeah, and look at our control room. I have to say something about my boys back there. I'm sorry, I do not like leaving behind the scenes guys out.
Oh, yeah.
And they might get me
They
for
make
this.
it happen.
But Alan and Grady was one of my, we started with Can TV with him. That's why I learned about this stuff at.
Oh,
and I
okay.
want to just say thank you to them two guys. And I know Bill is back there, so don't let me forget Bill.
Oh yeah.
And Bill is he's a
staple
pillar.
for
But these are
Can
three
TV.
men here doing a great job. And
Yes,
people
they
need to
are.
know that they do a great job every time we hear it. Smooth, educated, great talkers, spiritually minded, good men. And that's what you got to line yourself up with.
Right, they contribute to the success of all producers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair if it weren't for Grady.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we are sort of like at the end of the show.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Time
time
flies
passes
when you're having
swiftly
fun,
when you're having
yes.
fun, yes.
Oh,
Okay, but you know the drill. With My Guest Ain't Guessing, at the end of the show, the guests always give words of inspiration, words of wisdom. We'll start with Naimah, and you can give some words that inspire. Since, right, take a page from your newspaper. Inspired the viewing audience.
You are here to learn how to be your best self, and whatever lesson you're learning in life, it's to make you better. So never think you're down. You're just on a journey to go higher. And remember, there are no mistakes. They're only learning lessons.
And John.
man, I couldn't have said that no better. And so I agree with what she's saying. But what I would say is, keep yourself on a level playing ground. Keep your foot down to the ground. Obey your elders. Be respectful to yourself. And learn that the right way is the right way.
Enough said.
All right.
And that's our show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for viewing. And I'd like to personally thank my fabulous crew, Alan, Grady, and Bill. Thank you, and tune in often. This has been My Guest Ain't Guessing. Okay.
What kind of food? What kind of food?
What kind of fool do you think I am? You think you can go on seeing him? Darling, after we had made our plans, you said I'd be your number